Hundreds of MSME entrepreneurs, policymakers, and international delegates gathered in Navi Mumbai to answer one very critical question. And the question was, how do small businesses really benefit from free trade agreements? Well, global trade strategist Girish Patel was right there with his bold answer to this question. It was a strategic blueprint titled EU-India FTA from trade numbers to strategic corridors. Well, let me tell you, my audience, that the story of this report did not end in Navi Mumbai. The report, which was first tabled at the European Parliament in Brussels, quickly became a talking point in India's policy circles as well. At the summit, Harsh presented the first copy of this report to Industry Minister of Maharashtra, Dr. Uday Samant. But the very next day, he presented a copy of the same strategic blueprint to our Defence Minister Shri Rajnath Singh as well. And soon after, to the Law Minister Shri Arjun Meghwal.
I'm going to go over to Harsh. Harsh, you did a report on free trade agreements between India and the various countries, and what type of possibilities there are in terms of FTAs and all the other things. So, on one hand, एक छोटे व्यापारी को या उद्यमी को बहुत तकलीफें होती हैं ये समझने में कि भाई इसके इतने कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोविजंस होते हैं कई बार कि वो इंटरप्रेट करना ही मतलब पहले तो डिफ़िकल्ट है. बट FTAs को डिकोड करने के लिए क्या इंस्टीट्यूशनल मैकेनिज्म्स खड़े करने चाहिए ताकि एक लोकल मैन्युफैक्चरर के लिए या लोकल एंटरप्रेन्योर के लिए उसमें आसान लैंग्वेज समझ में आए. एक तो वो, दूसरा क्या रास्ता है वो करने का वो समझ आए, और ताकि हमको दो तीन सिंपल स्टेप्स में मालूम पड़ जाए कि भाई ये पॉसिबल है और ये कंट्री नहीं.
First and foremost, very important that all my co-panelists rightly highlighted in today's time कि प्रोडक्ट सर्विस पूरे वर्ल्ड के लिए बना हुआ है, ना कि आपके मुंबई, महाराष्ट्र और इंडिया के लिए. पूरे वर्ल्ड लेवल पे हमें कंपटीशन करना चाहिए. उस लेवल का हमें पहले इमेजिनेशन होना चाहिए. इमेजिनेशन के बाद आपके प्रोडक्ट को मार्केट प्लेस में लेके लाने के लिए पीयूष जी ने राइटली बताया कि आपका मार्केट प्लेस आपके डोर पे है. बट जो बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है, एंड दैट इज़ वाई विदाउट विच यू विल नेवर सक्सीड, दैट इज शुड नॉट बी अ रिएक्टिव, इट शुड बी अ प्रोएक्टिव. एंड व्हाट इज़ दैट कि गवर्नमेंट ने कितने सारे कंट्री से फ्री ट्रेड अग्रीमेंट कर लिए कि इंडिया यूरोपियन यूनियन, इंडिया यूके, इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया, इंडिया यूएई. बट उस फ्री ट्रेड अग्रीमेंट को सही मायने में आपको फ़ायदा तभी पहुंचेगा जब आप सिर्फ ChatGPT या KPMG को हायर करके उसकी कंसल्टेंसी ले, तभी आपका वो सॉल्यूशन नहीं होगा. सॉल्यूशन तभी होगा जब आप 3 C's पे फोकस करें. फोकस 3 C's मतलब फर्स्ट, कैपेबिलिटी. हमारे प्रोडक्ट की कैपेबिलिटी उस लेवल की होनी चाहिए, उस क्वालिटी की होनी चाहिए कि यूरोप के गोडाउन में या यूरोप के शॉप में अगर मेड इन इंडिया का लेबल हो तो प्राउडली इंडिया का प्रोडक्ट चीप कॉस्ट पे सेल ना होता हो, बेस्ट क्वालिटी पे होता हो. एंड माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, आई मे साउंड अग्रेसिव, but we all need to get out of the colonized hangover. That is extremely important. We should not bet on the low quality and the mass production. We must bet on the value creation. Second C is credibility. अगर आपकी प्रोडक्ट में कैपेबिलिटी तो है, अमेजोन ने आपको प्लेटफॉर्म तो दे दिया है, AI के माध्यम से डेटा तो आपके पास है, मगर आपकी प्रोडक्ट की क्रेडिटिबिलिटी ही बिल्ड नहीं हुई तो कैसे आपका प्रोडक्ट वर्ल्ड में वो पहचाना जाएगा, या फिर खाली आपको सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग फीस अमेजोन जैसे ई-कॉमर्स को देना पड़ेगा. व्हाट डू आई से सो? मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट इज इनोवेशन शुड नॉट बी इन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एंड द ट्रांजेक्शन लाइक अ कन्वीनियंस ऑफ ब्लिंकिट और ई-कॉमर्स. Innovation should be in making life easy and making sure it adds value to our humankind and the country. So credibility is extremely important. जाइए यूरोप में, यूके में सिर्फ बायर सेलर मार्केट मीटिंग ना अटेंड कीजिए, बल्कि उस कंट्री से शादी करने की कोशिश कीजिए. मीन्स उस कंट्री में आप जाइए, कल्चर समझिए, मैथोडोलॉजी समझिए, उस कंट्री में क्या भाषा बोला जाती है, उस कंट्री में कैसे लोग बिजनेस करते हैं, उनकी डिसिप्लिन, उनकी एटिकेट्स को समझिए एंड ट्राई टू इंटीग्रेट विद दैट इकोनॉमी. जैसे इंडिया में विद इन इंडिया वी कॉल इट यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया, एक सिटी दूसरे सिटी में बिजनेसमैन जाता है तो हम उनकी भाषा समझते, हम उनकी कल्चर समझते एंड फिर उनसे इंटीग्रेट होते. सो व्हाई कांट वी डू द सेम? What works in Mumbai and Maharashtra may not guys works in Australia or UK or Europe. So that's the credibility. And third, I am sure consistency will play a big role. Otherwise, you may have a big turnover with a big fancy marketing and sales expensive. That's why I say, sir, so many companies in India, they have a turnovers in crores of rupees, but balance sheet is bleeding. So एक successful financial discipline के लिए आपका chartered accountant, आपका lawyer आपको हिस्टोरिक अकाउंटिंग करने में कोशिश ना करे, बट इस तरीके के हो कि डिप्लोमेसी में हेल्प करे. इंडिया का फर्स्ट चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट एंड लॉ फर्म प्राउडली वी प्रेजेंटेड द इंडिया EU FTA. ना कि आपको एक 100 पेज का एक लीगल एनालिसिस दे, बट एक ब्लूप्रिंट दे कि मार्केट एक्सेस कैसे किया जाए और उसको कैसे एक्शन में लिया जाए. दैट इज व्हाट रियल सक्सेस इज. थैंक यू.
Excellent. Thank you.
So that was Harsh at the summit breaking down his 3 C's. We caught up with him on Zoom right after his meetings with Defence and Law Ministers. So welcome Harsh, welcome to our special segment.
For a kind, brief introduction, and thank you for inviting me.
To begin with our conversation, my first question to you is, you have already handed over this report to 3 top ministers in just 2 days. You have handed it over to Dr. Uday Samant, Shri Rajnath Singh and Shri Arjun Meghwal. But what according to you, what is the specific interest that Defence and Law Ministries really are showing in this FTA report?
What we bring is absolutely simple. We don't just advise on India EU or India UK or any corridor. We shape this report inside the European Parliament in direct dialogue with MEPs and policymakers and diplomats. This is not something that any other Indian law or CA firm in my view has ever done before. And when our Honorable Defence Minister and the Law Minister and the Maharashtra Industry Minister, they, at the first instance, when they reviewed the report, and the first expression was surprising, shocking, and absolutely feeling overwhelmed that the form at which our Honorable Prime Minister envisioned that the Indian chartered accountants and law firms must operate and scale at the vision of the Big Four. And I'm sure that Honorable Defence Minister smiled that was saying everything about that what we were doing. And for any businesses, when they are serious about India-EU corridor, be it from the market access, regulatory navigations to a mobility of capital and mobility of talent. And of course, when it comes to structuring, you need someone who don't just read the FTA or a tax or a law regulation. You need someone who was in the room when this was shaping. And this is exactly where we see and exactly where we deliver.
Well, quite interesting to know. And with this, it also reminds me that on stage you mentioned about, we must get out of the colonial hangover. So what does that mean practically for small manufacturers in Maharashtra?
Extremely interesting and near to my heart. Why? Because we may call ourselves as independent today, but today still the mindset of the entrepreneurs or businesses and professionals, back of the mind, still it is under the colonized hangover. What does that mean? That means they will always feel that when the brand is coming from a West is always more superior than the India. And the Indian entrepreneurs and the professionals, when they are betting on mass productions and the low cost, that means they are not competing with the confidence, but they are commanding with the based on the mass productions and the low value. Now, my always mantra and my always question to practical advice to all the entrepreneurs is, don't ask what is the lowest price at which I will enter to any market, be it a professional or be it a manufacturer or trader, but rather ask yourself, at which market do I enter and which market do I own in the near future? Because the India-EU FTA just provides the platform, but you have to walk in like you belong there. And that is where I believe where we come in as a professional expert to shape the mindset and making sure that they thrive in the corridor.
Well, I must say that if small businesses follow this advice, there is nothing which can stop them. Harsh, you also mentioned about 3C's, your 3C formula, which is capability, credibility, and consistency. So, which one, according to you, is the first and biggest roadblock for Indian MSME today, and where should they start from?
In my view, all the three C's must exist together in order to have a success. But the most important is one needs to start with the capability, because confidence without capability, I'm sure it collapses the moment as the global buyers does the due diligence. So what does that mean? The value creations, whatever, be it a product, be it a service that any manufacturer or the service providers they are catering to, make sure that their absolute innovations, research and delivery remains on the top notch to compare with the global competitors, not with the Mumbai or Maharashtra or local region. So our businessmen and the professional must scale their qualities and abilities to a world-based finance level. Then I am sure once you build a world-class capability, the confidence will eventually follow and the consistency will also follow. And in that order, and if I'm sure any businesses needs the professional ecosystem to thrive, and you know where to find us for professional ecosystem.
So Harsh, you have just placed the EU-India blueprint in, the hands of India's top ministers in just 2 days. So that's a huge achievement in itself. But looking ahead, what's next for you? So is there any new project, report or any initiative in pipeline that we should be watching out for?
Since you ask now, I cannot wait much. But next week I will be at the UK Parliament, and I'll be attending and I'll be speaker at the India UK Annual Summit, and where we will be unveiling our India UK first ever FTA report. And I'm sure you must be aware of that India UK FTA is the first ever historical, because the country who ruled us, we are today as an equal partner in trade, investments and creating the equal opportunity for both the country's citizens together. And beyond the report, the water in Shark is building something, I would say, larger than ever before. From our motherland, India's first ever origin of a firm, which is not just a chartered accountant and law firm, which is not in model on the big four, but which is authentically, richly, deeply rooted in our Indian cultures and Indian values, shaped by Switzerland philosophy, which is protect, preserve, prosper for generations to come. And that is what are our dharma and karma. World is one family, and we try through our work that making sure that wherever they go, they are protected, making sure them seamlessly progress and prosper.
Wow, that's huge. UK Parliament. We are sure that this is going to be a big deal, and we will be definitely following that. So thank you, Harsh. Thank you for connecting with us in this conversation. And in a candid conversation, Harsh just dropped a major exclusive. Next week, he is taking the mission further with a brand new India-UK FTA report, which will be unveiled right inside the UK Parliament. For more updates on this upcoming report and on global trade strategy, you can keep watching us and stay tuned.